Good morning, everyone. The prayer this morning will be offered by the wonderful delegate from Baltimore County.
Uh, Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're
Colleagues,
welcome.
please stand in any posture you feel comfortable. If you can, close your eyes, bow your head, and picture the vast blue sky above us. Let a sense of calm settle in. Think about the thousands of mothers and fathers who came before us. They made us, our life possible. Because they made, we are in existence. A French philosopher says, I think, therefore I am. The fact that we are breathing today is a profound gift. Inside each of us, close to 85 billion neurons work together in our brain. We are alive, aware, and conscious. Remember those who inspired us, created opportunities. Therefore, we are in this 449th General Assembly session. The freedom that was earned through sacrifice. Picture Washington and Jefferson here with us. We carry on their legacy. Recall the monks who visited us. Their silence was powerful. Let a calm strength fill you now. Now I will share a Vedic mantra. People have chanted it for thousands of years to call on Ganapati, the remover of obstacles, for wisdom, clarity, and peace. Let it clear your mind and invite calm. Om Garanantva Gada Patre Gangaba Maye Pirinantva Pirya Patre Gangaba Maye Basho Mahatamajasi Garvardam Basho Mahamajani Garvardam. God, give us the power to help the most vulnerable in every piece of legislation we pass. God, to help give us the strength to help the vulnerable. We need that courage. May our Madam Speaker, our Senate President, both chambers, every member, our governor and his team, our constituents, our men and women in uniform, and all their families, and all the people in our state, from Dundalk to Denton, Oakland to Ocean City, and our nation and world be blessed and find peace and harmony. Now gently smile, take a deep breath in and out. Again, breathe in and out. One more time, breathe in and out. While still smiling, slowly and gently open your eyes. Amen. Thank you.
Amen. Very nice. Quorum call.
Madam Speaker.
Is everyone in from the back? Okay. Let's give one more second for people to reach their seat. Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk would take the call. There being 127 members present, the House is now in session. The clerk will read the journal from the previous day.
Annapolis, Maryland, February 23rd, 2026.
Recognize the Deputy Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So much be considered the reading of the journal.
So order petitions, memorials, and other papers. Thank you. So today we have two resolutions. I'm going to call first on the delegate from Montgomery County. Actually,
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
go ahead.
The Maryland Blue Ribbon Schools program, established by the Maryland Department of Education, honors schools that have demonstrated excellence in academic achievement and commitment to student success. The following schools have been selected as 2025 Maryland Blue Ribbon Schools in recognition of their exemplary dedication to fostering a supportive learning environment for their students. Baltimore Polytechnic Institute, Diamond Elementary School, Little Flower School, Myersville Elementary School, St. Louis School, Stoneleigh Elementary School, and Wilson Wims Elementary School. This award recognizes the hard work, innovation, and dedication demonstrated by these schools in providing high-quality education, helping students achieve their full potential, and preparing them for success in future academic and personal endeavors. The Maryland General Assembly hereby recognizes and congratulates our 2025 Maryland Blue Ribbon Schools, and we extend our heartfelt appreciation for the dedication and efforts of the entire school community in achieving this prestigious honor. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome. So, Dr. Wright is going to recognize the principals of those schools, which are here up on the balcony. Before I do that, will the clerk please read the full resolution?
Be it hereby known to all that the House of Delegates of Maryland offers its sincerest congratulations to all of the Maryland Blue Ribbon Schools in recognition of the occasion of your selection as a Maryland Department of Education Blue Ribbon School. The entire membership extends best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this resolution to be presented on this 5th day of March 2026.
Thank you, Dr. Wright.
Thank you for having us, and I want to recognize the principals of these schools, and if their staff is with them, to please stand. So from Baltimore Polytechnic Institute, Principal Mark Sawyer, could you stand? From Diamond Elementary School in Montgomery County, Principal Dan Walder. From the Little Flower School, the Archdiocese of Washington, Principal Meredith Murko. From Myersville Elementary School in Frederick County, Principal Dana Austin. From the St. Louis School from the Archdiocese of Baltimore, Principal Deborah Thomas. From Stoneleigh Elementary School in Baltimore County, Principal Deidre Lynch and Heather Larson, who was the principal at the time of the nomination. And last but certainly not least, speak to me, Carrie, Wilson Wims Elementary School from Montgomery County, Principal Kevin Burns. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. On behalf of the body, we really congratulate you, and we're so proud of you. Thank you for the work you do on behalf of Maryland. Yes. Next, I would like to recognize the other delegate from Montgomery County. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues,
Let's listen.
for 90 years, the Maryland Municipal League has been the voice of Maryland's 160 cities and towns, advocating for, educating, and training the mayors, council members, and other local government officials and staff who serve more than 2 million Marylanders living in their jurisdictions, supporting and empowering those who represent the level of government closest to the people, where the rubber meets the road, and who are reimagining ways to address the challenges and opportunities we face every day. Among the alumni of municipal government are a number of distinguished members of this chamber, including our very own speaker, who began her elected service as a city council member in College Park. Joining us in the gallery are mayors, council members, and municipal staff from all across the state who are here today for the 2026 MML Advocacy Day. Maryland's mayors can be identified by their yellow scarves as they also convene for the annual Mayors Conference. All House members and staff are invited to rooms 170 and 180 of the House Office Building after our floor session this morning to visit with your municipal officials and learn about their priorities this year. As a past president of MML, I know what a special organization it is and the tremendous difference it makes for our state and all of our municipalities, and so it is my honor to welcome MML and ask my colleagues to join me in congratulating the League on the occasion of its 90th anniversary. And here on the rostrum we have the president of MML, Mayor Todd Knock, and the CEO of MML, Teresa Coons. Welcome.
Will the reading clerk please read the resolution in full?
Be it hereby known to all that the House of Delegates of Maryland offers its sincerest congratulations to the Maryland Municipal League in recognition of 90 years of dedicated public service to Maryland's 157 incorporated cities and towns, serving nearly 2 million residents. The entire membership extends best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this resolution to be presented on this 5th day of March 2026.
Introduction of House bills. The clerk will read the bills and the committee assignments.
House Bill 1628, Delegate Wells, House Rules.
Thank you. You're going to say that to your own bills? Just kidding. The clerk will read the bond initiatives and the committee assignment.
Introductory House Bond Initiatives number 59, March 5th, 2026, referred to appropriations.
All right. Quorum call. The clerk
Madam
will
Speaker.
call. Go ahead. Everyone is up here from the back? Yep. All right. Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. There being 128 members present, the House is still in session. Recognizing the majority leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, just a quick point of information. You have a second printing of the 2026 rulebook in your desk. There was a technical error in the table of contents, so the numbers did not match. You will know it because it literally has second printing stamped on the cover of it. Thank you.
It was just what they were waiting for. House third reading calendar number 27. The clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 80, Landlord and Tenant Residential Leases, Fee Disclosures.
House Bill 80 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? Recognizing the gentleman from Anne Arundel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
I have a few questions for the floor leader.
Sure, the floor leader.
Good morning.
Oh, hey, man, good morning. Good to see you over there.
Good to see you too.
Can you tell me exactly what the new fee disclosures are on this bill?
Let's listen. Thank you.
You said what the fee disclosures are? The bill just requires you that you have to provide fee disclosures for things that you would add into your, they're part of the fees that you would have as a tenant at an apartment or a place. So it's not like a list of actual fees. It's more so you get to just provide all the fees. But utilities are fees that would not have to be described. So we remove trash as one of the items that would not have to be described.
Okay, I know that currently the Maryland standard lease currently has a list of fees that the landlord and the tenant will agree upon, who's responsible, things like that. Can you help me understand what does this do differently than the current lease that we use?
All this bill does is ensures that Marylanders will know what they're going to pay for when they are renting an apartment. So it just ensures that landlords are required to disclose those fees. So this is make sure this is belt and suspenders to make sure they're describing those fees. And if they don't describe those fees, then the tenants have a pathway to make sure that they have the ability to hold the landlord responsible.
So let's say that you're 6 months into a current lease and the state of Maryland comes down and says, we have a new fee. And the landlord has to pay this new fee. Let's just call it the environmental impact fee. And the landlord now has to pay that effective July the 1st. It's middle of the lease. The landlord goes to the tenant and says, we need to discuss this new fee. Will they have an opportunity to share that with the tenant or discuss revising that with the tenant, disclose that to the tenant?
To better understand your question, so you're saying that a new fee has been placed on the landlord and they're now going to raise a fee on the tenant? I'm trying to understand your question.
I mean, any type of new fee that could be proposed to them maybe in the middle of the lease. You know, we have a lot of emergency bills that we put through this year. Let's say that I've already negotiated my lease and now I have a new fee that, yes, has been put down on the landlord. The tenant is living in the landlord's property. It would essentially be that the tenant is responsible, right? The tenant lives there. The tenant enjoys the property, enjoys, you know, the landlord has done that for the tenant, and now they have this new fee that they have to pay.
Yeah, so this bill is only for fees that are in between the tenant and the landlord. So that a fee that would come down from Maryland that would be responsible for the landowner or for the building owner, I don't think that's necessarily applicable, but the goal of this bill is to ensure that any fees upon getting a new lease, that you would know exactly what fees you're walking into before you sign the lease. That's the point of the bill. If there's any new things that come along, that's part of owning a building and the responsibilities of owning a building, that'd be on the landlord, and then there'd be a conversation that they can have with their tenant around anything new. But this bill is about when, before you sign a lease, you know what fees you're walking into beforehand.
Okay, and does the landlord have to prove what that fee is prior to having the agreement with the tenant?
When you say prove, just describe that further, please. When you say prove a fee, if they have a fee, then they can disclose the fee. I'm trying to understand when you say prove.
So let's say they say that the fee to have water is $500, but we know that it's not $500. Is there a checks and balance that has to happen?
Water would be considered utility, wouldn't be covered under this bill.
So not utility. So what would be an example? I'm looking here at page 2 of the bill. I see a lot of discussion here in a paragraph about mandatory fee, optional fee. What are some of the examples that may have come out of committee?
So I think it's more things that are cable. Maybe there's a gym in the building. There's a fee for that. Things like that. Things that are amenities that would flow from the normal course of living in a building.
Okay, so you're talking about maybe a bigger unit that has different amenities that somebody is taking advantage of.
Correct.
I understand.
Bill's only applicable to, I believe it's 4 units. If you own more than 4 units, so it's not 4 or more units, so it's not applicable to an individual house.
Okay, yeah, I saw that in the bill when I read through it yesterday on second reading.
Yeah.
Is it 4 more units in the same neighborhood, 4 more units in the entire state, 4 more units?
Yeah, so it's a landlord is offering 4 or more units.
So anywhere in the state of Maryland, or in that specific apartment building, that specific condo building?
Yes, if you are in the business of leasing out spaces and you have 4 more units, we consider you in the business of doing so. So yes, it'd be 4 more units.
So I could have a house in Worcester County, a house in Somerset County, a house in Baltimore City, and a house in Frederick County, and I would be deemed a landlord that has 4 or more units.
If you have those 4 units under your name, then that would be considered 4 units. If that's one entity with 4 units.
Okay. Thank you, floor leader, and thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay. Recognizing the gentleman from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Could the floor leader answer a question on this bill?
Yes, sir.
How would this be applicable to a non-written lease? Because you can do a verbal lease.
I'm sorry, to what type of lease?
A oral lease, you can actually, it's not, unless they've changed the law, it doesn't have to be in writing.
So if you have oral lease is an interesting choice to be made, but at the end of the day, if you have an oral lease, you'd have to disclose the fees. So oral a oral lease is I don't see how that would normally happen. So yeah, yeah.
Well, it does happen with small landlords having 4 or 5 units. It does happen.
I'm not familiar with the oral lease in that situation.
Okay, thank you.
Recognizing, wow, popular. Recognizing the
Yes,
delegate from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, the floor leader is already up. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning.
Just a question or two. So just looking through the text of the bill, it seems to not only apply to a contract, but also any advertisements that may be out, like say if someone is putting an ad for their apartment building in a newspaper or something like that. Is that correct as well?
No, that would not be correct.
Okay, so it's not for ads.
It's for disclosing. It's disclosing for the lease terms.
Okay. Because some of the testimony seems to indicate that it is. Okay, so let me ask a question then about the lease term. So, say somehow in the lease that I have made an error. I own 20 units. I've made an error and not disclosed a fee initially. I come back after the fact and say, hey, you know what? We didn't properly disclose a fee for whatever whatever that fee might be for. What happens in terms of the penalty there? Is it one penalty, or are you getting a penalty for all those 20 units in the building? How does that work?
So, to clarify your question, you're saying that you imposed a mandatory fee, and there was a mistake? Is that what you're saying?
Mistakes happen in life. Let's just say that there's a mistake somehow in the contract process. You as the landlord go to correct that process. You've got 20 units in a building. Is there then a fine for just one offense, or are you getting a fine for all 20 units that are in the building?
Yeah, it'd be 20 separate violations, but it'd be 27 violations.
So it could be fairly substantial, is what you're in a circumstance like this, or for someone maybe that is a big apartment unit owner that has maybe sometimes hundreds, and some companies may even have thousands in the state of Maryland. It could be a fairly substantial issue, is what you're saying potentially.
Yeah, you can look. The goal of this bill is to make sure that we're ensuring that life in Maryland is more affordable. So we want to make sure that fees that are upfront, all fees that you're going to be paying as a tenant are upfront, and landlords should be working hard to make sure that they don't violate this law. And we've been sure through the amendments that we have, IOBA, the Maryland Multifamily Unit organization is in support of the bill. So it's something that our large landlords understand and they're willing to take on.
Sure. No, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate your comment there about making things more affordable. From the landlord side, from that side, how does this make it more affordable for them to be able to offer property in Maryland for rent or lease? How does that help on that side of the affordability equation?
I don't think that's relevant at all. It's just about them. It's about them disclosing the fees. It's not about affordability for them. It's about disclosing the fees.
Okay, I got you. Thank you.
Okay. See no other questions or debate, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 95 votes in the affirmative and 34 votes in the negative, House Bill number 80, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 153, residential rental apartments, air conditioning requirement.
House Bill 153 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the...
Madam Speaker.
Recognizing the delegate from Baltimore County.
Thank you. Could the floor leader please rise?
Good morning.
Good morning. You're on the hot seat today, pun intended, with air conditioning. Can you tell us what this bill does now?
As amended, House Bill 153 requires a landlord of a residential rental unit in an apartment building to provide air conditioning for newly constructed units and units that undergo a specified renovation.
So only renovated units. So if you go in and improve a bathroom, then the landlord is then roped into this.
If it's newly constructed or you do a substantial renovation to, yes, a substantial upgrade or a major replacement to the electrical.
Okay, well, you would have to probably upgrade the electrical for the air conditioning. So so I think back to raising our kids in Hamilton in the city. We lived in a house built in the 30s, obviously no central air. And we had what is affectionately known as window shakers. And we just had one in our bedroom. And when it got hot, the kids came and slept on the floor in our bedroom. Would that be not allowed for a rental? Do you have to air condition your entire house? Or can you just put in a window shaker in the bedroom?
Yeah, so I grew up similarly in summers in Baltimore with my grandparents. We had air units, so window units would be permitted here. You have to make sure the habitable spaces can maintain 80 degrees or lower. So you have to make sure that in these spaces where people sleep or where people are convening in a home or an apartment, that they have to be able to be at 80 degrees or lower.
So the entire house would have to be air conditioned all night long.
It does not require central air, but you have to meet the threshold of 80 degrees or lower.
Yeah.
And this is already taking place in Prince George's County and Montgomery County. So it's something we're already doing.
Thank you. Thank you. On the bill, I'll be voting against this bill because it just doesn't make sense. There should be allowances for these beautiful, beautiful old homes that don't have central air. You know, we raised our kids grew up without central air. They lived through it. And it was hot, man, hot in Baltimore City in July. But having window shakers in the bedrooms works. This bill will make you have window shakers everywhere. And we know the cost of electricity today. This is going to put an undue burden on tenants who are going to have to pay for this, or landlords who are going to have to pay for this. So, it's well-intentioned. I appreciate it. But for those reasons and affordability for everybody, I'm going to be voting red. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Speaker.
Recognizing the gentleman from Baltimore County.
Would the floor leaders, I have a development in my community in Turner Station that's going under a major renovation right now. And for an example, they're not gutting the place, but it's been, as the colleague said, back in the 30s or 40s. Now, since this is being introduced today and voted on today, will this company have to go back and upgrade everything from get-go?
So the bill is prospective, not retroactive. So this bill, it would not apply if you're doing it right now.
So if they put in the $2 million in and they don't put the central air, they don't have to put the air conditioning in after July 1.
It's prospective. So if they're putting it in right now, then this bill will not apply.
Thank you.
Recognizing the gentleman from Cecil.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
Same line of questioning that I had last year on this bill. Does this bill make any references to the A2L refrigeration mandates?
No.
Okay. So all household units had to be converted to A2L as of the beginning of this year. However, window units have a longer phase-in period, which goes all the way to January 1st of 2028. So the idea here is that most likely these will be accomplished by using window units, which are a higher SEER rating, lower SEER rating, less efficient, using more electricity and using refrigerants that are being phased out by the EPA. So there's no language whatsoever stating that these units have to be compliant with federal law.
Yeah, the AC can be provided in a multitude of ways. So it doesn't detail exactly how it has to be provided. It just has to meet that threshold on the temperature.
Thank you.
Recognizing the gentleman from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
I have a question for the floor leader. Who's going to enforce this?
I'm sorry?
If the units are not at
Will you be
80
so kind and put it closer to your mouth, the microphone, please?
Sorry.
Thank you so much.
So if the units do have air conditioning in them, and they're not, the tenant decides they don't want to have it 80 degrees, they want to have it 85, how's that going to affect the landlord?
So you said the tenant wants to be at 85?
Right.
And the tenant can be at 85. The building has to be able to go to 80, but the tenant can have their temperature where they want it set.
Okay, the other question is, who will enforce this if, let's say the air conditioning breaks down? How will that be enforced, or how will that be?
the normal processes when a tenant is not having when their space is not habitable. The same way we enforce things around heat, same things we enforce things around if there's vermin in a building, the same pathways that tenants currently have now to make sure that their landlord is abiding by the laws.
Right. So there'll be an investigation, because I've been a landlord for many years. I'm not that much anymore, but tenants will have a tendency to create problems so you don't have to pay the rent. I'm being honest with you. I've seen it many, many times. You know, they say the air conditioning's not working, the heat's not working. I mean, a multitude of things. So that's why I was asking these pertinent questions.
Yeah, there's an exception for reasonable repair and maintenance, like there is with other stuff. If something goes out at 3 a.m., there's an exception for reasonable repair and maintenance that a landlord will have enough time to get everything fixed.
All right, I just want to clarify. Thank you.
The clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Recognizing the gentleman from Montgomery County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just to explain my green vote on this bill, we've discussed this in many past years, and I just wanted to raise a couple of points for the body. First of all, modern window units and air units are extremely efficient. They are able to keep units cooler than 80 degrees very easily. Number two, the reason I know this is because this law has actually been law in Montgomery County and Prince George's County for decades. It did not create any landlord burden. It did not create some sort of economic disruption in the rental market. But what it did mean is that little babies for whom it's unsafe to be in a unit past 82, 83, 84 degrees were not in danger. Their safety were not endangered. The final point I want to make is that this provides clarity for landlords, because under current Maryland habitability law, landlords can and often are sued for lack of AC. This law protects them by making the standard very clear, so they're not unwittingly falling victim to lawsuits. So I'll be casting a green vote, and I urge my colleagues to do the same.
Okay. The clerk will take the call. There being 94 votes in the affirmative and 35 votes in the negative, House Bill number 153, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 200, Sale of Residential Real Property, Required Flood Risk Disclosure.
House Bill 200 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? Recognizing the gentleman for Southern Maryland.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Could floor leader rise?
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. So this bill requires what? The disclosure of if your house is in a flood area?
Yeah, it just requires for residential properties, when you are selling your property, you have to disclose a certain list of items that you get prepared to describe the situations where there has been floods or possible flooding in your area.
I thought sellers already had to disclose material defects of the property. So flood is not a material defect?
So we're just ensuring that residents have the ability to make sure they know exactly what they're going to purchase, and making sure that if they're entering into a space where there might be recent flooding or possible flooding, that our Marylanders know what they're walking into before they purchase the property.
So is there a definition in Maryland state law, maybe I'm not aware of it, that defines flood risk?
Give me one moment. Yeah, there's moderate flood risk areas defined under the law.
So I guess what my concern is, we have some properties around the state of Maryland that have recently been flooded that were not really in flood zones. We had major flooding out in western Maryland. A few years ago, I remember we had major flooding through Ellicott City. Those properties aren't in a flood zone. Would you have to disclose if your house was previously flooded by an act of God?
Yes, so that's the reality, right? So we're seeing things change in our climate. So the whole entire point here is to make sure that if there's new areas where we're seeing more flooding, that is properly disclosed. So when people are purchasing property, they know exactly what they are going to be having on their hands.
So is MDE running this entire program?
Yeah, they're creating the disclosure form. So the disclosure form will be created. If you look on page 2 of the fiscal note, it will itemize the items that will be included on the disclosure form, so you can be able to fill that out whenever you're doing a sale.
So that disclosure form, does that have to be resubmitted after the sale to MDE, and what's the cost of that?
No, and I believe there's no cost.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you answering these questions.
Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome. Recognizing the delegate from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question for the floor. Sorry, I had a couple cups of coffee this morning on the way in, Madam Speaker. Got a lot of energy today.
Well, every time you get up, you're going to have to try to bring a chocolate here or something.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Madam Speaker, I will. I'm just looking at the language in the bill. It's talking about that the property experiences flooding. Could you describe to me what that is? So are we talking about just the land, or are we talking about the building itself? Because the delegate to my right here and I represent a waterfront district. There's plenty of properties that will get water on them, but it doesn't mean it's in the house.
Yeah, so it's the property. Yeah. So yeah, it's the property, the entire property. Yes.
Okay, so I'm just so I understand. So even if there's no material risk to the home from mold or anything like that, because some of our properties are pretty big, even if there's some water that pools sometimes far away from a house, we're still putting someone on a list here potentially.
You have to disclose on the property, just to describe where it is, the amount it is. It's just a proper disclosure.
Okay, thank you.
The clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 94 votes in the affirmative and 35 votes in the negative, House Bill number 200, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 386, Metro Funding Modification Act of 2026.
House Bill 386 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? Recognizing the minority whip.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
So I was motivated to get up today after hearing the minority leader speak on the bill. I don't know when that was, earlier this week. And because as someone who represents Frederick County, I have lived this experience about the shifting of funds. So for example, in Frederick County for 10 years, Republicans and Democrats alike made our #1 priority funding Route 15. It was $100 million. We had the money. We could almost taste it. It was there. And then that money was stripped out in the middle of the night. Matter of fact, we even had, it was mentioned the road show, we even had the Secretary of Transportation come to Frederick, look us in the eye, and tell us that that money was good. And it was still taken out. And so why I'm against this bill is that this bill would potentially take $140 million away from a very important bipartisan project that we have focused on in Frederick County for over a decade. You know, it's almost one of the only things we agree upon in Frederick County is that we want to fund that major project. And so for those reasons, the fact that this potentially, and again, allegedly, that money was put back for 2029, you know, conveniently after the next election, but it could be taken out again. And so I have genuine concerns that priority projects in my jurisdiction are going to be put in the back seat to other projects throughout the state. And again, no shade on other jurisdictions. We will support them as well, but it's important that we're not moving money around to the detriment of others. So for those reasons, I'll be voting red on this bill. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker.
Recognizing the gentleman from Anne Arundel.
Madam Speaker, to explain my vote, the floor leader did a stellar job yesterday debating this bill on the floor. He spoke at length about percentages in other counties that utilize this transportation, and I would agree with him. There are other counties that utilize this. However, we were all here yesterday morning when Brian came to take our beautiful photo, and it took Brian 2 hours to get here from Baltimore City. Roughly, I don't know, 18 miles, maybe 20 miles, I don't know. Coming down through Anne Arundel County, down through 97 to get here. 2 hours, he said. And we all waited. And so the people in my district that travel Route 97 up and down would love to have some funding, would love to be able to get here a little quicker, would love to have public transportation, as Brian stated yesterday. We would love to have this opportunity to have this funding redirected to our county, to utilize, to get to the beautiful city of Annapolis, to come visit the state capitol, to come take a beautiful photo. And we don't have that opportunity because the money's being redirected. And I stand with Anne Arundel County against this bill because it redirects it and it doesn't put it where it needs to be. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, to
Recognizing
explain-
the floor leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To explain my vote, I appreciate the comments from the delegate from Frederick County who pointed out that funding was restored for his project in fiscal year 2029. I think it's important to emphasize that the funding for this bill also doesn't kick in until fiscal year 2029. There are guardrails throughout this bill to ensure that we are being responsible with the Transportation Trust Fund. Those guardrails include the fact that the District of Columbia and Virginia must pass their own legislation matching the proportions of the contributions to capital funding to WMATA. If they don't do that, we don't spend the money. If WMATA doesn't provide a series of detailed reports, if it doesn't have clean audits, if it doesn't develop a workforce transition plan, or if it tries to lay off unionized workers, they have to withhold 35% of the standard grant. 35%. So there are all these contingencies already built in. And because we have 2 years to see how this plays out, we can see what happens with the Transportation Trust Fund. But we need to invest in the system. We need to address the fact that when we passed a law 8 years ago to contribute additional necessary funding for WMATA, we did not account for inflation. We could not have foreseen COVID. We could not have foreseen all of the economic factors that have impacted WMATA. It is an important economic engine for our state, as we discussed. It also has additional benefits to reduce traffic and help us with our climate goals. We need to make this investment in WMATA, and we can afford to do it. Thank you.
Recognizing the gentleman from Anne Arundel County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I don't get up often, but I think I should. As a former government employee who took Metro, I think we have to realize all the park and rides that people use to go into work and think about all the roads and how they would be impacted. So as an Anne Arundel County resident, for those, especially our federal government employees that utilize Metro to get to and from work, I think we need to look at it at that angle as well. Thank you.
You're welcome. Recognizing the delegate from Montgomery County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To explain my green vote, there were just a couple of reasons that I wanted to share. First of all, I think most of you know in our district, I think we've got 8 or 9 red line stations that are either in our district or directly adjacent to it. So Metro is obviously critically important to the economic well-being of not just Montgomery County, but as we've heard from folks who take the Metro in from all over, and our parking lots are bursting at the seams, as you can see, on a daily basis. But I was reminded last night, I got a chance to meet some of the executives from Hitachi that have their amazing new rail construction facility out in Western Maryland, in Hagerstown. And what's really cool is they told me they're not only building the Metro Series 8000 cars, they're not only building the Baltimore Metro new rail cars, or excuse me, the light rail cars, but they actually just got a huge contract with SEPTA. I'm originally from the Philly area, so for any of you Southeastern PA nerds, you know that that is the huge regional transit administration up there. And that is another long-term contract. So that facility is not just to help build the next generation rail vehicles for Maryland. It's literally building the next generation rail vehicles for the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast. So that is going to be a huge economic benefit. And then lastly, you know, we talked a lot about One Maryland yesterday, and I'm a big believer in that. There was a bill that flew under the radar here a little bit earlier in session where we voted to increase the bonding authority for the Maryland Transportation Authority so that we could build the bridge, the key bridge, which is critical. In all honesty, a lot of my constituents don't travel over that bridge all that often, but I know how unbelievably important it is, not only to the state, but to the entire region. And I was proud to cast a green vote. Some of our colleagues strongly disagreed with that and voted no. But on this bill in particular, I am proud to be a green vote, and thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome. Recognizing the majority whip.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So colleagues, I have a green vote on this board today because I have the distinct honor of being one of 2 people in this legislature that's car-free. I live about 10 minutes walking from the New Carrollton Metro, and that is how I get around. I also have the honor of being a son of someone who works at WMATA. So my green vote is for you, Mom. Thanks.
All right. The clerk will take the call. There being 92 votes in the affirmative and 36 votes in the negative, House Bill number 386, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 643, Certified Public Accountants, Licensure Qualifications.
House Bill 643 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 128 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 643, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1025, State Board of Cosmetologists, Licensing Eyelash Extensions.
House Bill 1025 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate?
Yes. Yes. Over here.
Recognizing the delegate from Baltimore County.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I rise
welcome.
on this bill to explain my vote because it would have been easier just to vote no. But the sponsors of this bill are wonderful ladies and colleagues. And I was reading the bill earlier, as you know we always do. And on page 3 of the bill, it talks about a limited license to blow dry hair. It was passed in 2016, and this part of the bill, which we're not amending, but it is certainly part of the bill, requires someone who wants to blow dry hair to have 350 hours of instruction. Imagine 350 hours of instruction to blow dry hair. And because of that, there are only 9 licenses in the state of Maryland. Now we get to eyelash extensions. And I understand my colleague's concern as an ophthalmologist with someone having eye damage, putting glue or adhesive on an eyelid. But this bill, the current language, says that a person needs 100 hours of instruction to learn how to put eyelashes on someone's eyelid. Now, if this had been 10 hours, 15, a reasonable amount, I would say I could vote for that bill because we are protecting the public. But I think what this bill is going to do is exactly what happened to needing 350 hours to blow dry hair. No one can afford that license because the economics doesn't work. Same thing with this. I called my salon owner that does my hair. I said, what do you think about 100 hours? And she said, well, she could teach her husband how to do that in about 8. And, 100 is way too many hours. And then you might ask, you all got a red book on your desk delivered to your office from the Chamber of Commerce. This CNBC poll that was recently done in 2025 ranks Maryland as far as top business states to do business in 43rd. And the regulatory policy ranking of Maryland is 47. So, I'm fond of the sponsors. I get where you're going with it, but I think this is a barrier to entry. We have lots of people in the gig economy that would love to do this, but 100 hours of training and taking a class, I think, creates a barrier to allow people to start their own business and be part of our economy. So for those reasons, I am going to be voting red. Thank you.
Recognizing the delegate from Carroll County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
I'm surprised anyone would bat an eye at this bill, but
that was a good one. That goes on the bingo card.
we're keeping you on your toes. You have to have 2 bingo cards.
You are.
Okay, so a couple points. Number 1, 100 hours of training. Blindness is permanent. And I love my husband dearly, but I do not want him putting adhesive and sticking eyelashes on me. I would prefer someone to have the training and to be able to do this in a very safe and effective way. You know, you're talking about this being such a big burden. This is a $25 license, $25. That allows someone to have some training and to have a great viable job. Licensure gives someone, it gives the public confidence in the person that is doing something to service my body in some way has been trained, tested, and licensed. It's a very obvious, easy thing to do. And instead of having to sit for the full cosmetology license and classes, which can cost anywhere between $17,000 and $22,000, I think that having this as a great entryway into the cosmetology field for $25 is a great thing to do. I think it encourages business. I think it encourages people to be trained, and I think it's a great niche market for someone to be able to do that in a professional, competent way. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk would take the call. There being 118 votes in the affirmative and 7 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1025, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Anyone for vote change? Yes, recognizing the delegate from Prince George's.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I do have a vote change, and I apologize. I was talking to the senator, so it's their fault. I definitely want to be a yes on HB 3A6. So my button did not work, so I will bring that slip up.
Thank you, the yellow slip. Thank you.
Madam Speaker.
Yes, recognizing the delegate from Anne Arundel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to change my vote on House Bill 80 to no. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? All right. House third reading calendar number 26. The clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 235, Housing and Community Development Neighborhood Business Development Program Local Approval Requirement.
House Bill 235 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? Recognizing the gentleman from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just
You're
had
welcome.
a quick question for the floor leader here.
Floor leader.
Good morning. Well, I didn't know it was you.
Let's go for it.
I actually understand, I think, the premise of this bill, and I actually agree with, expediting things, more efficiency, but I'm just trying to make sure if I vote yes, I'm not missing any, I guess, unintended consequences when it comes to, well, number one, my first question, is there a lot of testimony against that 45-day window? Because to me, I mean, local governments tend to move pretty slow, so 45 days and that to have an impact on whether or not they make a yes or no call on some type of development doesn't seem all that long to me.
Right. So there was opposition from MML and MACO on the 45-day. The original bill came in striking any time frame, so it was at 0. We changed it in the committee. As amended, it gives a 15-day window instead of the 45.
So, I mean, that's a considerable slashing, 30 days. So I guess, I'm just worried that a local government really could lose the ability to have a say in blocking funding for projects that they don't support. I mean, is that a legitimate concern? Or
Well, I think with the 15 days, they actually came in and did support. That's enough time for them to review the application and approve it or not.
There was local government coming in.
So MML had original
I'm sorry.
opposition on this, but in their opposition letter, they talk about what the 45 days means. And so the middle ground on this was 15 days.
Okay, and just so I understand, so you'll have a situation here where I guess, a developer could go to the state to ask for some type of state funding. Before, they used to get the local zoning, or I guess local government's approval, but now would be developer without the local support, getting approval in cases without any local support again, and getting the approval for state funding, and not even having any idea whether or not that local government actually supports the project that the state's going to fund.
Right. So just to be clear, this is a DHCD program. It's Neighborhood Business Works, and eligible applicants are Maryland-based small businesses and nonprofits who benefit from the funding opportunity. So this is a pro-small business policy that DHCD administers. What we're talking about is having locals having input into this, and so over the entirety of the program, there's only been 2 applications that have ever been denied because of local opposition. So for the most part, this is a policy that the department came in and said, we'd like to expedite these. So the original bill said that we would just get rid of the review. That I would oppose. Certainly the committee took the testimony from MML and said, well, we'll meet you in the middle. We'll compromise and say 15 days. And we believe as a committee that 15 days is sufficient time frame to allow for local review. And if there's going to be something terribly wrong with this, for which there's only been 2 examples in history of the program, that would be enough time for them to stop and say, okay, we have a problem with it and let's have a discussion.
Yeah, I actually agree with a lot of you just said, and I appreciate you answering this. I'm not at all against the theory of this bill. I just worry about the potential unintended consequences with local government. Did the county executive of Hartford County adjust his testimony, or is he still against?
So I believe that the committee took the 15 days as a compromise, and that everybody's in alignment and support of the bill that would be interested from a county or municipal standpoint.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Welcome.
Madam Speaker.
Recognizing the delegate from Prince George's.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to let you know that I'm really enjoying this moment right now. Will the floor leader yield for question?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're most welcome.
Would you please give me 2 sentences to convince me to vote green on this bill, please?
2 sentences. So as a small business owner, I accept and enjoy the DHCD program called Neighborhood Business Works. These programs are good pro-business opportunities for small businesses to partner with government to establish mixed-use projects, restaurants, child care facilities, markets, office space, including co-working, maker spaces, retail, manufacturing facilities. And so to that end...
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm certainly enjoying this moment. Thank you, floor leader.
The clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk would take the call. There being 118 votes in the affirmative and 6 votes in the negative, House Bill number 235, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 240, Local Comprehensive Plans, Guidance, Materials, and Notification to the Department of Planning.
House Bill 240 is on 3rd reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk would take the call. There being 123 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill 240, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 262, State Government Council for Open Data, Membership and Responsibilities.
House Bill 262 is on 3rd reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk would take the call. There being 116 votes in the affirmative and 8 votes in the negative, House Bill number 262, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 536, Employment Discrimination, Reasonable Accommodations, Disabilities Due to Childbirth, Menopause, and Related Medical Conditions.
House Bill number 536 is on 3rd reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 106 votes in the affirmative and 18 votes in the negative, House Bill number 536, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 557, occupational licensing and certification, criminal history, predetermination,
House
review
Bill
process.
Thank you. House Bill 557 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 96 votes in the affirmative and 28 votes in the negative, House Bill number 557, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. So clerk will actually, I'm looking for any vote change. Recognizing the delegate from Baltimore City.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to be recorded in the green on House Bill 262. Thank you.
Any other?
Madam
The
Speaker.
Gentleman from Anne Arundel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would be recorded in the red on House Bill 536.
Any other? Okay. Report on the Committee on Ways and Means, report number 4. The clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 735, Earned Income Tax Credit Assistance Program Implementation Delay and Study, favorable.
The question before the House is the adoption of the favorable report. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill as to its title? Hearing none, the bill is order printed for third reading. Next bill, please.
House Bill 805, Building Homes Act, favorable.
The question before the House is the adoption of the favorable report. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill as to its title? Hearing none, the bill is order printed for third reading. The next bill, please.
House Bill 851, Human Services Maryland Statewide Independent Living Council, legal status, favorable.
The question before the House is the adoption of the favorable report. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill as to its title? Hearing none, the bill is order printed for third reading. Report of the Committee on Ways and Means, report number 5. The clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 311, Public Schools, Individuals with Disabilities, Accessibility, and Emergency Planning, favorable with amendments, amendment number 1.
Recognizing the floor leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
Move so much be considered the reading of the amendment.
So order.
The First Amendment is technical. The Second Amendment strikes the bill provision making annual reports on school safety exempt from the Maryland Public Information Act. I move the amendment.
The question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. The question now is the adoption of the favorable report as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any additional amendments to the bill as to its title? Hearing none, the bill is order printed for third reading. Next bill, please.
House Bill 359, Property Tax Credit, Urban Agricultural Property Alterations, favorable with amendments, amendment number 1.
Good morning. Recognizing the floor leader.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. So much be considered the reading of the amendments.
So order.
The amendment adds hydroponics and other controlled environment crop production methods as eligible urban agricultural activities. Move the amendments.
The question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. The question now is the adoption of the favorable report as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any additional amendments to the bill as to its title? Hearing none, the bill is order printed for third reading. Next bill, please.
House Bill 396, Residential Child Care Programs, Education of Children, and Training of Child and Youth Care Practitioners. Favorable with amendments, amendment number 1.
Thank you. Recognizing the floor leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Move so much be considered the reading
So
of the
order.
amendments. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 repeals a maximum age limit for children who receive educational support in residential child care programs, brings requirements for a student in a residential child care program transferring schools in alignment with federal law, and clarifies that changes to the training of residential child and youth care practitioners apply only to when the practitioner's registration is renewed. I move the amendments.
The question before the House is the adoption of the amendments. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendments are adopted. The question now is the adoption of the favorable report as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any additional amendments to the bill as to its title? Hearing none, the bill is order printed for third reading. Will the clerk please read the next bill?
House Bill 430, Family Child Care Providers, National Guard and Military Reserve Members, Substitute Provider, favorable with amendments. Amendment number 1.
Recognizing the floor leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
Move so much be considered the reading of the
So
amendments.
order.
Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 alters the application of the bill to align it with changes made last year to Maryland Statutory Code regarding reserve components of the uniformed services, and clarifies that the bill does not otherwise limit the State Department of Education's authority to regulate substitute family child care providers. Move the amendments.
The question before the House is the adoption of the amendments. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendments are adopted. The question now is the adoption of the favorable report as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any additional amendments to the bill as to its title? Hearing none, the bill is order printed for third reading. That ends the work of the desk. I have one reminder before we get into committee. Monday, March the 9th, this coming Monday, is the last day to introduce bills and bond initiatives without suspension of the rules. So they need to be in the hopper by 5 p.m. All right? Committee announcements, appropriations.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Appropriations will meet in the committee room at 1 o'clock for a hearing on the BRFA.
Economic matters.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Economic matters will continue bill hearings at 1 p.m.
Environment and transportation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The House Environment and Transportation Committee will meet at 1 p.m. for bill hearings.
Government, labor, and elections.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. GLE will meet at 1 p.m. for bill hearings.
Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Health Committee will meet at 1 p.m. for bill hearings. Please listen for subcommittee announcements.
Judiciary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Judiciary Committee will meet at 1 p.m. Please listen up for subcommittee.
Ways and Means.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Ways and Means Committee will meet at 1 p.m. today for bill hearings and will vote following bill hearings.
Subcommittee announcements. Recognizing the delegate from Baltimore City, then Howard.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Estates and Trust Subcommittee will be meeting at noon. Thank you.
Howard.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Health Facilities Subcommittee, the Health Committee will be meeting 20 minutes after the floor session.
The lady from Montgomery. In purple.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Elder Care and Long-Term Care Subcommittee will be meeting 20 minutes after floor.
Lady from Montgomery in orange.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Child Care Subcommittee will be meeting about 20 minutes after floor. Thank you.
Lady from Montgomery in red.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Non-Energy Utilities Subcommittee of the Environment and Transportation Committee will meet following the subcommittee meeting of the Motor Vehicles and Transportation Committee. Thank you.
The gentleman from Montgomery with the blue tie.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Personnel Subcommittee will be meeting at 11:30 by Zoom for a short voting session. Thank you.
Wonderful. The lady from Baltimore City.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Motor Vehicle and Transportation Subcommittee of Environment and Transportation will meet today at 3:30 p.m. Subject to change, watch your emails and texts.
The delegate from, in the green jacket from Southern Maryland. Green blazer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Gaming Subcommittee will meet virtually at 12:30. Gaming.
Thank you. The lady from Baltimore County.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. The Oversight Committee on Pensions will be voting today after bill hearings in the Appropriations Committee room.
The lady from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Labor Subcommittee of Government, Labor, and Elections will be meeting at 2 p.m. or after GLE bill hearings on Zoom.
Any other subcommittee announcements?
Madam Speaker.
Yes, the gentleman from Prince George's.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Local Revenue Subcommittee for Ways and Means will be meeting via Zoom at 12 noon. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Any other subcommittee announcements? Hearing none. Delegation announcements. Recognizing the delegate from Anne Arundel, then Montgomery.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Anne Arundel delegation will meet tomorrow at 8:30 on Zoom. Please arrive on time. Thank you.
Montgomery.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Montgomery County House delegation will meet tomorrow morning virtually at 9 a.m.
Eastern Shore.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Eastern Shore delegation will be meeting at 9 a.m. tomorrow via Zoom.
Prince George's.
Good morning. The
Good morning.
Prince George's County delegation will be meeting tomorrow morning at 9.
Recognizing the delegate from Southern Maryland.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Southern Maryland delegation will meet tomorrow at 9 a.m. virtually, and the Charles County delegates will not meet tomorrow. Thank you.
Any other delegation announcement? Baltimore City.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Baltimore City House delegation will meet tomorrow, Friday, at 9 a.m. virtually. Thank you.
Any other? Oh, yes, Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
Wow. The Baltimore County delegation will meet at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other delegation? Seeing none. Caucus announcements. Recognizing the chair of the Women's Caucus.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Women's Caucus members, you have received an email and you have also received a calendar invite this coming Monday, March 9th, 4 p.m. in-person meeting in room 150. Again, Monday, March 9th, 4 p.m., room 150. It is in your email. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other caucus announcements? Hearing none. Any personal or guest announcements? Recognizing the chair of the Economic Matters Committee.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It is my honor today, as the body, to join me in welcoming the doctor of the day, Dr. George Malouf Jr., who is an ophthalmologist from D26, my district. He also, I just want to share a little news of him. Dr. Malouf received his medical degree from University of Maryland School of Medicine. And for a while, I will say in 1980, he gained his experience in ocular trauma. But in addition to his professional activity, Dr. Malouf, he has found time to serve on the Council of the American Academy of Ophthalmology for 8 years. He's a past president of Maryland Eye Society and Prince George's Medical Society. He's also the past chairman of the Department of Ophthalmology for Doctors Community Hospital and Prince George's Hospital. But most of all, he's also my eye doctor. So I highly recommend him. If anyone needs an ophthalmologist, no offense, Dr. Permission to use the delegate's name?
Permission granted.
No offense, Dr. Miller, Delegate Miller. This is my ophthalmologist here. So welcome him to the body. He loves to come here. He tries to come here. You've been coming here for 3 decades? Yes. So welcome to Doctor Day, Dr. George Malouf.
Welcome. We appreciate you. Recognizing the delegate from Prince George's.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
Colleagues, unfortunately, the panoramic photo needs to be retaken due to a camera buffer failure. Could you please, can you please arrive tomorrow morning at 8:25 a.m. sharp? Psych.
Don't come at 8:25 because you're going to be here by yourself. The delegate from Prince George's.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, it is my honor to recognize that today, in celebration of the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission's Advocacy Day, I would love for you to kindly acknowledge the chairman, our former colleague, Darrell Barnes, and vice chair, Mr. Artie Harris.
Yay. Welcome.
Along with their staff. We have many staff members from the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, and they're being nationally recognized as leaders in land use, planning, parks, and recreation. Today, the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission staff will walk the halls to meet with members and staff of the bi-county delegations to share the Commission's priorities and goals. Later this evening, as I announced yesterday, I invite you all to join us on the second floor hall. The Prince George's County Parks and Recreation will host the arts reception. We've had beautiful art up and down our hallway from artists from Prince George's County. That will be at 6 p.m. in Low House Office Building, second floor. Again, we welcome the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission's chairman, vice chairman, and all of the staff. They're in the front gallery.
Recognizing the delegate from Frederick, then Prince George's, then Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just a quick reminder that tonight the karaoke caucus will meet at 8:30. Thank you.
You're welcome. Recognizing the delegate from Prince George's.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Tonight, I'd just like to advise that the District 27 night will be held. Time for those that are available and wish to stop by will be 6 to 7:30 p.m. Thank you.
And where?
It'll be at the Miller West Conference Room.
Thank you. Recognizing the gentleman from Baltimore County, then Anne Arundel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to acknowledge Scarlett Hefner is in the audience today. She is basically shadowing what we do here at the House of Delegates. I appreciate her being there. She's very much involved with the North Baltimore County farming community. Thank you,
Welcome.
Madam Speaker. Thank you, Charlotte.
Recognizing the gentleman from Anne Arundel.
Great. Thank you very much, Madam
You're
Speaker.
welcome.
Permission to use the delegates' names.
Permission granted.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. On behalf of Chairwoman Bartlett and also Delegate Rogers and myself, we'd like to give a warm welcome to the students from St. Philip Neri who are here from Linthicum. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Any other personal guest announcement? Recognizing the delegate from Baltimore City.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd
You're
like
welcome.
to, on behalf of the members of the Baltimore House delegation and on behalf of the Baltimore City Administration, I'd like to invite all of you to Baltimore Night in Annapolis. It's also a combined District 46 night. Permission to use the delegates' names?
Permission granted.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On behalf of myself, Delegate Lou Klippinger, Delegate Mark Edelson, and permission to use the Senator's name
Permission
as well.
granted.
Senate President Bill Ferguson. This will be District 46 first district night, probably in Maryland history, and we're doing it jointly with the administration. So we'd love to have you join us in the Miller East room from 6 to 8 p.m. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome. Recognizing the delegate from Montgomery.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is actually an update to my earlier announcement. The Child Care Subcommittee will now be meeting at 12:15, so please make that correction. Thank you.
Any other personal or guest announcements? Seeing none. Quorum call.
Madam Speaker.
Those that are in the back. Anyone in the back? Okay. So before we take the call, if I can have a second, I want to thank all of you for your work. I've been watching the committees. I've been also watching some of the subcommittees, and you're here very late, and some of you have 100 and something witnesses, and that's the work that people at home do not see, that you're working around the clock, and I want to thank you for your hard work. I'm really proud of all of us. Has everyone recorded their presence? The clerk will take the call. There being 127 members present, the House is still in session. Recognizing the majority leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House stands adjourned until Friday, March 6th at 11 a.m., legislative date February 25th.
Have a blessed day, everyone.